The small café on the corner of the street was a haven for locals who wanted to escape the bustling city. The air inside was warm, filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the faint sweetness of pastries. For Dinah, the café was more than a workplace, it was a lifeline, though on most days, it felt like a marathon she barely had the strength to run. The late afternoon shift was dragging on, with customers dwindling to a mere trickle. Every tick of the clock seemed louder than usual, echoing in the near-empty space. Dinah wiped down the last table by the window, her back aching from hours of standing, and glanced at her phone. Just one more hour. Rent was due in 2 days, and her phone bill had gone unpaid for weeks. The tips she'd earned that day barely covered a small meal, let alone her mounting bills. Most patrons hadn't bothered to look up from their phones as they tossed a few coins onto the table. She sighed, pulling her hair into a tighter ponytail, and prepared herself to finish the shift. The bell above the door jingled, startling Dinah from her thoughts. She looked up to see a young man enter. He was tall, lean, and dressed simply in a plain shirt and slacks, yet he carried an effortless air of poise. 2 men followed him in, their sharp eyes scanning the café like they were reading the room. Dinah froze momentarily. The café wasn't exactly the kind of place where high-profile guests frequented, and these men seemed out of place. The young man took a seat in the corner, away from the other customers. Despite his understated demeanor, Dinah couldn't shake the feeling she'd seen him before. Shaking off her nerves, she approached his table with her order pad. "Good afternoon," she greeted, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "Can I get you something to start?" The young man looked up, and for a moment, Dinah's breath hitched. His face was strikingly familiar, then it clicked. Barron Trump, the youngest son of the former president. "I'll have a cappuccino and one of those croissants," he said politely. His voice was calm and sincere, free of the arrogance Dinah often associated with wealth and privilege. "Absolutely. Anything else?" "That'll be all, thank you," he replied with a faint smile. Dinah scribbled the order, turned toward the counter, and tried to steady her nerves. "He's just a customer," she told herself. No more, no less. As she prepared his order, her gaze drifted back to the corner table. Barron sat quietly, gazing out the window. Unlike the other patrons, he wasn't glued to his phone or laptop. Instead, he seemed lost in thought, his expression calm yet introspective. When the cappuccino and croissant were ready, Dinah carried the tray to his table. "Here you go," she said, setting them down gently. "Thank you," he said, meeting her eyes briefly. "You're welcome. Let me know if you need anything else." Dinah returned to the counter, but something about the encounter lingered in her mind. She busied herself with cleaning and organizing, stealing occasional glances at the corner table. When Barron finished his meal, he pulled a pen from his pocket and scribbled something on the receipt. He folded it neatly and tucked it under his empty coffee cup. Then he stood, gathered his coat, and made his way to the door. "Thank you for coming," Dinah called out softly as he passed. He turned slightly, offering her a faint smile. "Have a good day," he said before stepping outside, the bell above the door jingling behind him. Dinah exhaled, unsure why her chest felt tight. She approached the table to clear it, picking up the receipt. When she unfolded it, her breath caught in her throat. At the bottom of the receipt, beneath the total, was a handwritten note. "Your kindness and hard work don't go unnoticed. My family has been where you are. Stay strong, brighter days are coming." Next to the note was a tip, $1,000. Dinah's knees buckled, and she sank into the chair opposite where Barron had sat. Tears welled in her eyes as she read the note again, her fingers trembling. The words weren't just kind, they felt deeply personal, as if he'd seen through the tired smile she wore every day. Her manager approached, concern etched on her face. "Dinah, are you okay?" Dinah nodded, though her voice cracked as she replied, "Yeah. I'm fine. It's just this." She held up the receipt. Her manager's eyes widened as she read the note and saw the tip. "No way. Who left this?" "The guy in the corner," Dinah said softly. "It was Barron Trump." Her manager let out a low whistle. "Well, that explains the security. But wow, this is something else." Dinah nodded, still clutching the note like it was a lifeline. "I didn't do anything special," she murmured. Her manager placed a hand on her shoulder. "Sometimes, people just see you, Dinah. They see the effort, even when you think no one notices." Dinah fought back tears, her heart swelling with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. For months, she'd been drowning, working endless shifts, barely scraping by. That note, those words, felt like a lifeline pulling her back to shore. The next morning, Dinah woke to dozens of notifications on her phone. Messages poured in from friends, coworkers, even strangers. One text caught her attention. "Girl, is this you? You're famous." Attached was a screenshot of a headline. "Barron Trump leaves waitress touching note and generous tip." The story had gone viral. Someone had snapped a photo of the note, and now the entire internet was talking about it. Dinah's stomach churned as she scrolled through the comments. Some praised Barron's kindness, while others debated her story as if she weren't a real person. By the time she arrived at the café, reporters were camped outside, their cameras trained on the entrance. Her manager greeted her with a knowing smile. "You're a local hero now," she teased. "I don't feel like one," Dinah muttered, tugging her apron on. As the day wore on, customers whispered and pointed. Coworkers peppered her with questions about Barron. But Dinah kept the note tucked safely in her pocket, close to her heart. Later that night, as she lay in bed, she unfolded the receipt once more. Her eyes lingered on the words. "Stay strong, brighter days are coming." For the first time in months, Dinah believed they might be.